Hey yo family, it's Chef Glam, and today I'm just going to be prepping a flank steak. I got this from Cost US. Actually it's two. Ooh, I got this in a big pack from Cost US. I just realized it's two. I got to put that one. I was just saying I thought it's four in a pack. How I only ended up with three, but I know see that the two is stuck together and this one's a bit small. But yeah, I paid about sorry, you can stop talking in my video. Kids play Monopoly. Anyway, yeah, I paid about $150 for these from Cost US. They usually cost in about $70 nowadays for one, so it's a good deal because you buy it in bulk. I'm just gonna do some meal prep for hubby. He eats, well, he doesn't eat clean all the time, but he eats fairly clean and it's always high protein. So I'm just gonna do what I have, which is I'm gonna be doing the flank steak with some spinach. And then I also have a sweet potato here. I'm gonna make some healthy carbs. Stay tuned. This is a very good way to cut the sweet potato, where you go around the sides. That's something I learned in school. Some people like to hold things in their hand with a knife. Now, of course, there's these little bits here that you might want to ease through with the knife, but standing it up and just shaving it down on the sides, it cuts down on the time it takes to peel it correctly. And as you can see, this is a beautiful purple sweet potato. I think I got this from a while back, so I forgot about this sweet potato. I had it in the fridge, so I'm just gonna boil it, put little herbs on it, and done with that. But what a beautiful color, huh? Okay, so I'm just gonna put the purple sweet potatoes into some simmering water. Hopefully, don't do it like me, because I almost burned myself. So, you know, seriously. Anyway, yeah. We're gonna put this in some simmering water. Just enough to cover, because I don't want all the purple to go out of it. And also, since the purple inspired me and I have to cook for my kids as well, I'm gonna do that one time in this video. So we're gonna make some blue rice. So the butterfly pea flour is good for female reproductive health. It looks like a vagina, by the way. I love it, and I got some from a friend of ours, Talia. She gave me a plant and it's been growing, and the reason why I love it is because it's a natural glue and it's good for you. It's natural dye that's good for you. So I'm going to show you my dried version of the flour, and then we're going to get a shot of the actual bush I have outside so you can see what it looks like. The flour, I pick them, I just spread them out so they can dry out, and this is what they look like. You can find these on Amazon as well. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some blue rice just for fun. So I'm going to be throwing some of my dried flowers, we wash them and then you dry them, into my rice. When the color comes out of them, I'm going to scoop them out quickly, because I don't want the actual flowers in the rice. I just want the pigment from the flowers and whatever low properties they contain to go down into my rice, okay? Alright, so the tail end of the steak actually is quite fatty, but that's good flavor that's going to be in there. And it's not fatty all the way through. It doesn't really have much silver skin on it, so I'm not going to really bother to clean it off too much. But as you can see, you can just use your knife, scrape it, and cut this part off, but not the fat itself. I don't want to lose all the fat. I'm just losing the little bits of skin. So some of this is fat, and I'm going to leave it on because I'm going to stir fry this beef. Another way how you can do the steak is you can cut it into steaks like this, but you just have to remember when you eat it to cut it against the grain. If you cut with the grain, it's going to be chewy. You can see the grain is these lines going down like wood. So you don't cut it this way. You cut it against the grain to shorten those lines so that it wouldn't be chewy. And look, the children just brought in the harvest of the butterfly pea flowers. So pretty, right? So if you're trying to be healthy, there's different ways to be healthy. So some people think everything has to be fat-free because that's one of the lies that the system told us. But actually, as we know, Eskimos are different people in the world that literally eat fat and they're still healthy. You know, the thing about it is that you just don't want to be eating too much calories overall. So you want to limit the fat in that sense, right? But as for like how this steak is, especially if you're eating like keto and you're only eating steak, this little bit of fat and marbling is good for it. There's so much here that is very lean, So by the time we stir fry everything together, it's gonna be great. So don't ask me anything about the fat. You will, of course you can in the comments, because I think the comments has helped the algorithm. But you could just pretend like I didn't tell you that and then cuss me about the fat in the comments. But just remember in your heart that I did explain to you why I left any fat. So see what I mean about the lean nature of some of it? And then because of cutting against the grain, you see how short that is? How easy it's gonna be to chew because of how short it is? That's what I mean. If you cut it the other way, it's gonna have long strands and not be easy to chew. I'll cut one to show you what I mean, because I'll just cut it up after. Look at that. The strands inside of it are very long. So ain't nobody trying to eat that, right? They'll be chewing because it's long. So then we cut it shorter to make it easier to consume. You need a heavy bottom glass cut, and after you peel your garlic, this is a great way to smash it. Some people smash it before they peel it. I like to smash it after, and then we're gonna just chop this up. And all the juices now will be out and about to flavor our meat. We're just gonna get a fine dice here on the garlic. If I was to grate this garlic instead of doing it how I smashed it, it would really be strong. But it's gonna be strong, but not as strong doing it this way. And yet we get a lot of garlic in the dish, which adds a lot of health to the dish as well. So now we put in our garlic directly into the meat. This turned out to be 1.5 of the steaks I decided to do. I'm gonna be adding some black pepper. It's very simple. I'm gonna be adding some cornstarch, just so it has a little bit of a sauce. Just a little cornstarch, not too much. And I'm gonna add some salt. I hardly got any salt. Oh my God, go next to my bag for salt pie. I don't know where my salt is. Got me in the wrong kitchen. Some salt on that bad boy. All right. And now this, we're gonna mix it. Since I have my nails done, I'm gonna use a spoon, but we're gonna mix this up and I'll show you it when it's done. So we got our sweet potatoes finished here. The way to keep the color bright would have been to roast them, but I did this quickly. So they're a little bit duller than I like, but they're still purple. And what I'm gonna do now, I've got a steaming hot pan here. I'm gonna just be adding some olive oil to this pan. A little more because there's a lot of beef. Remember, seasoning things is to taste. Things might need more salt, more pepper, but it's salt, pepper, and garlic that we're basically using here. Very, very simple. Very, very simple because we're trying to be fast, right? It's not all the time you have to be super creative, especially not with meal prep. You want to eat something that's healthy and something that tastes good, but you don't have to be, oh, let me think, no, let me do this chimichurri, but I don't have any parsley, but I don't have this, I don't have that. I'm using what I have to make this meal, and that's the way how you have to do it when you're trying to eat properly. You just have to buy some stuff, make sure you have some sort of green vegetables, some sort of meat, and then just do what you can. That said, I actually do have a bit of curry paste in the fridge. That would be a good addition too. So if you were doing all of this for meal prep throughout the week, you might do half as a batch, just like how I'm doing it, and then you might take the other half now and throw a little curry powder in it, a little tomato paste, something just to give yourself a little different flavor. Different herbs and so on make a big difference. I talk about that in my book, Meals and Ideas for Shapeshifters. You should do Shape Up and you should buy a book. Just a little plug there. All right, so this is steaming hot because you can actually see the steam if you look carefully. And I have some onion that I chopped up. Hear that sound? That's how you know you're ready. Set back camera. Just a little pause here. And turn back up the heat underneath these onions. I just want them to get a bit of color, create a little bit of aroma in the pan. You can smell the fried onions, it's such a nice smell. And then once we've got that color and aroma, we'll add our beef. The beef is not going to stir fry too crispy because I'm not going to bother to do it in batches and all of that. But if you wanted to make it more brown, you would do it in small batches so that all the beef can get all the color. The way I'm doing it, I'm going to get the color in the onion so I still feel like there's some caramelization going on. And then I'm just going to put in the meat and allow the meat to cook. I feel like it's important to say things like that because like just yesterday I watched this guy react to a Gordon Ramsay video and he was complaining about the pork belly that Gordon did not having fully crispy skin. The pork belly Gordon did hardly have crispy skin, but when you bake something low and slow in the oven, even if the skin is not crispy, that jelly-like skin is still going to taste good. In Asian cooking, you would see that sometimes they do things for the chewy flavor, sometimes they do things for the crispiness. That's all a part of cooking. There's no rule that says, oh, if the pork skin ain't crispy, it ain't good pork. I mean, how much people, especially in the Caribbean, they bake pork and it doesn't have nothing to do with no crispy skin at all, and it's get lashed every Sunday and nobody don't talk about that part because that's not what they were going for. Now, of course, the crispy skin is amazing. I've talked about that before and I'll probably do a recipe for that at some point again. But at the end of the day, there's different ways to skin a cat, okay? And everybody has this way of trying to make a lot of rules that don't really exist. Who is this first person that we're worshiping so hard who made it one way and now we all have to follow them? Cooking is a creative process and the way how you do things, you just want to make sure it tastes good so you can eat it. It doesn't have to be perfect or what people think is perfect because there's many different ways to do things. Alright, so trying to get a little color on our onion still. Still want some more, so I'm going to give it a little bit more time here on a higher heat even, just to get them a bit more brown. And then I'm going to start adding in my meat. Alright, so we're getting some colors on our onions. We're going to start adding our meat to this. Sorry, with it. In order to keep a bit of color on the meat, I'm going to leave it there. So I'm putting it in, but I'm not going to move it around too much. Now they said this is meal prepping. If I was doing this like in my kitchen to sell, I would only be doing one portion at a time. But because I'm doing this in bulk, it's going to be a bit different. It's not going to be the same because I'm not going to sit down and try to caramelize this perfect. I'm just going to make sure it tastes good and that's it. I keep saying that. And for that, so with that in mind, I'm putting all of this inside of the pan one time. But I'm going to leave it alone so that it can still get a little bit of color. And then I'm going to turn it very slowly to make sure that all of the meat is cooked. Alright, so as you can see, meat springs a lot of water. This is why when you're pressuring something, you shouldn't put too much water in it. Because meat will spring water. If it has a lot of bones, like the oxtail and stuff, you can risk more water because it takes more time to break down the bone. But when it's meat only, it's going to spring water. And the springing water, just means that it's not going to caramelize. You have to get all that water out in order to get crispy caramel going on. So the cornstarch that I put in there is actually helping it because what it does is it helps it to create a sauce. And then that would be my choice if I want to allow this to boil all the way down and then add more water after it caramelizes. But I feel like the color is not too bad. I feel like the sauce is tasting nice. So I'm just gonna continue to make sure that all the meat is cooked. And I'm gonna do it like how the Koreans, when they do their hot pot, they kind of just have the meat and they dip it into the hot water, and that's what creates that's what cooks the meat. And that's kind of what I'm doing here, making sure that all the different red pieces get dipped into the sauce. So you see the sauce there? And then when I'm done getting all the pieces dipped into the sauce, I'm going to pour off the sauce and caramelize this meat just a little bit and add my spinach, because remember, this was supposed to be like a stir fry. I don't know what it is, but it's going to taste good. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is, as I said, I'm pouring off the sauce because I want to have sauce. But if I wait for all that sauce to evaporate, this meat, which is already tender, will go to being tough and then have to get back tender again. We ain't going to throw all that in. So we're pouring off the sauce to the best of our ability. You want sauce for our rice. I tried to make blue rice, but I didn't want to use all of my butterfly pea flours to do it. So the rice come out kind of looking kind of gray. And I added instead of just using normal water, I added the water from the sweet potatoes to the rice, which will give you a slight sweetness, but more so will give you all of the nutrients that might have gone into the water for the sweet potatoes. So it makes the rice healthier. You can see the rice here. It's maybe slightly lavender. I don't know, lavender gray. I'll try again later for the blue rice when I have more butterfly peas to spare, because I want to use those flours for my drinks from my pop-up restaurant. Another shameless plug, we are open Thursday to Saturday, 5:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. We have an artisanal rum punch bar. Some rum punches you've never had before. Really, really nice and well thought out by yours truly. And then we also have the takeaway available on those days. If you want to sit down and eat in and get dessert and get treat special. We also have my pop-up on Fridays, which has been going on for a couple of years now and has great reviews. And then I've also added to the pop-up this Saturday morning as well, because I plan to have some Bajan dishes that everybody's looking forward to, putting in sauce and cocoa and stuff available from time to time. But also you could just come down and try the wings, man. The wings be busting, right? Or anything else that we have, because we always make sure it's good. Pineapple chicken, you got lovely fish and chips, all kind of things. Anyway, as you can see, high heat. You never guess high heat if they have with those stoves that you see with just the stove. It just has so much fire coming out of it. But that's the way of stir fry, is very, very high heat and fast cooking. So you go the highest heat that your stove can do. And what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to get this water out of here so that I can caramelize this meat a bit more. As you can see, it's only a little bit left. And once that evaporates, we're going to get some color on this meat and add our spinach. Alright, so as you can see here, I know that it's coming down to the fat that is left back inside of the sauce. So it's no time, but we can start to stir it a bit. And still not too much or too fast, because we want some caramelization. But I'm just going to clean up the sides of the wok. And just leave that alone. So we got our gravy, we got our rice, we got some sweet potato here, we got our meat. Only thing missing is the vegetables. And so we're just going to let this get some color, and our veg will go in, and then our meat is done. Alright, so if you look at it carefully, you'll see some color is forming there. And that's all I want. I can tell from the smell, which y'all can smell, that it's catching. This is all you want. You want it to just catch a little bit, right? But catching a little bit is going to give you a little bit more flavor. So the flavor is always on the bottom of the pan, and in the end of the sausage is have the flavor. So that's what we're trying to do here. Trying to let it catch just a little bit. Now that that's happening, I'm ready to add my spinach. So I done with one end of this here now. So we got some whole spinach leaves. If they were too big, you got to break them in half. Just simply break them up. If they're too big. And you can smell, you wouldn't be able to smell, but you can smell when something is catching, not burning, catching, when the bottom's starting to fry, right? And that's what you want. The spinach is going to add water, see? So you want to make sure it already caramelized before you add in the spinach. If we had done this dish and we didn't take those steps, this dish would be a pop-down dish when this dish could be a really good dish. Just because the cooking method is not good. So you see, it's not only the ingredients that you have, but you have to also know how to use them. You see, we got some lovely color going on this beef here now. You want more than that? The onions basically melt away almost. And then you can just taste test this and it's done. Now, as I said, now you could separate this out. You can add some turmeric and some curry and things to one. You could add tomatoes and so on to another. You could add soy sauce and a little ginger to another. And have 3 different tasting dishes out of this one dish. But this dish is edible as it is. The simple way with the garlic and the onions is yummy enough for me for today. And I'll just show you one last shot when it's actually all finished, because the spinach is wilting nicely. So here is the finished dish. It's looking real nice. I must admit it to myself. It's looking lovely. Right. That's the finished dish there.